Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Jamie. Good afternoon, Matt. I said good afternoon, Jamie, first because technically he was here before you were.
Was
So
he?
yeah, he was. So I thought it was more polite to say hello to Jamie first. Afternoon, Jamie. Hope you're well. Just let us know if you can see and hear us okay. Guys, if you're watching on Facebook, could you let us know if you can see and hear us live on Facebook? And if you're watching via YouTube, if you could let us know the same through that route, that would be great. I'm just going to jump into the comments on here. We've got a lot to get through today. Chris has joined us. Hi, Chris, and confirm we're all okay. Perfect. Thanks for that. I've still got the back end of this horrible cold. So literally, guys, if you hear me snotting and sniffing, I just can't help it. I'm sorry. And if you hear me talking through my nose, it's because of that reason as well. So if I need to blow my nose, I've got my tissues here. I'll put my mute off and go off camera quickly and do it. But it's gross. So sorry. Loads of people via YouTube today. Yeah, loads.
We are live on Facebook. I've just checked the group. Yeah.
Jamie's confirmed. Perfect. Thanks for that. We've got Julia. We've got Craig. Everything's good. We've got Simona, Lindsay. Chris has joined us. Already said hello to Chris. So yeah, just I literally have just said that everyone can see us and hear us. Okay, so that is fine. We'll just wait for a few more people to jump on. Like I said, we've got a load to go through today. We're going to do our demand check first of all, which we've been keeping you updated with, and seen a little bit of a surprising turn on that this week. So we'll run through that first of all. Then we're going to talk about, not for very long, because like I was saying beforehand, we're not the International Monetary Fund here. We're not, Matt and I are not economic strategists that know everything about, the current economic, system. So we're going to chat about what's happened, especially in the UK over the last week or so. It's been, quite significant. It will have an impact on business. There's no doubt about it. Matt, you've had something that's happened today that's impacted your business. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to move on and talk about supply chain. And I think more than ever, the reason why we're talking about the supply chain success now and making sure that you're securing your supply chains as best as possible is because we're coming into a period of uncertainty, a bit like with COVID. We've had a bit more notice of this period of uncertainty, whereas with COVID, we didn't know what to expect. So it was shock and awe a little bit. This period of uncertainty that we're going to be coming into over the next 6 to 12 months. Sorry, there was a bird that just literally flew. I'm one of those very easily distractible people. The period that we're going to be coming into, unless you've been living under a rock, we all know it's going to be tough times. And when there's tough times, it means certain things get broken. And we need to learn the lessons from COVID that, it really did come down to whoever held the stock, whoever was able to get supplied were the ones that had the biggest level of success. And it's going to be pretty much the same with coming into this period of uncertainty, but from a slightly different angle. So that's what I want to talk about today, or that's what I want us all to talk about today. Just to create this kind of awareness, essentially, about that, because we all really think about the what happened to my hand?
What did happen to your hand?
I don't know.
Probably just a light, is it, or something?
I don't know. Nothing. Got them both. They're both here. I don't know. Must have been a shadow or something like that. But no, they're all okay. Just the snotty nose for me. So lots of afternoons, by the way. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about predominantly today. And then we're going to talk about something. It was the light. Yeah, that's okay. No worries. Thank you for your concern, though. I appreciate it. And then towards the end of the session, we are going to put out an offer with your guys' permission. If you want to hear about it, about something that's going to be starting a week yesterday. So on Monday. Which we think that will really, really help with kind of getting your supply chain sorted, not only for Q4, and it's a little bit of a different offer, a different event that we've created. We want to mix things up a little bit. And yeah, we hope that it will be something that you guys will be able to use during Q4 and beyond over what will be, potentially a bit of a rocky road over the next 12 months.
I honestly think. I mean, I put a post yesterday about what people's plans are. We still going hell for leather, or are we kind of reining it back? It's going to be a tale of two halves. I think as with anything, a recession is the great change maker, as they say, and some people will excel and make wealth for life, and others will fail ultimately. It's going to be a very interesting time, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think definitely it's about covering all bases, and that's what it's about. And there is a massive difference between covering all bases and getting distracted. I know I said about getting easily distracted. I'm massively easily distracted, not from a work point of view, but having a conversation, someone's waving at me or something like that. That's where I get easily distracted. But there is a difference between shiny object syndrome and there is a difference between awareness, okay,
Yeah.
and having a plan. And that's what we want to cover today. And that's what we want to, start to talk about the awareness and create, create and talk about it openly. Because anybody right now that's going into, the coming months or even the Q4 going into it saying, yeah, I'm going to have my best Q4 ever. It's amazing. I'm massively prepared to do this, to do that. I think they're telling fibs a little bit at the end of the day. We don't know what Q4 is going to bring. We do know that it's going to bring demand. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. So we just have to make sure that we have all our bases covered as best as possible. So if a pivot is required, either during Q4 or 2023, which sounds ridiculously.
Wow. Yeah, we're nearly October, aren't we? We have Q4 in a few days' time.
Yeah, then we can absolutely make that pivot without a doubt. So we'll talk about that. So we've got loads of people who've jumped on and joined us. So Andy's here. Hi, Andy. Hi, Donna. Testing times ahead for sure. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Easily distracted. Natalie currently. Totally am. Afternoon, everyone else. Sorry, Cindy, Philip, anyone that we've not said hello to, Simon. So hi, Nat and Matt. Good vibes. Oh, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Good vibes indeed. And this is the thing. And I think Cindy said it yesterday. And this is what we hope to bring with this group as it continues to grow, which we want it to, obviously, is we want to be open and we want to talk about testing times, but we don't want to do it in a way where we're just either creating fear or moaning about it or anything like that. We really, really want to create an environment of solutions, but not also sticking your head in the sand and like everything's going to be okay whilst you're rocking in the corner. We don't want to be that. We want to be that nice balance in the middle to sort of like say, yeah, it is tough. Have you thought about doing this though? Have you thought about changing that? Maybe bring that into the business. That's the environment that we want to create here for sure. Simon says, my wife hates it when I say Q4 in business. You got to get down with the lingo.
Yeah. Oh, my wife keeps saying, "Oh, she's an accountant." She's like, "Oh, we're in H2 now." I'm like, "What?
What's H2?
Like half. She just
half.
H1, H2 apparently.
Oh, so what's Y? Y is just year.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Karen, voice of reason. Well, thank you. I don't know if that was meant for me or the group in general. Pardeep says I'm going to have to catch up later. Yeah, feel free to come back. Absolutely. Replay will be on YouTube and we'll post it in the group as well for sure. It's Christmas. Oh, right. I see. Yeah. No, I absolutely see. But we all do it. We all bring lingo like Amazon jargon, work lingo into our lives. I call it Q4. Do you know what I actually think genuinely to people who are not in business? It is absolutely the question I get asked the most when you talk about it. What is Q4?
Yeah.
And then it was like the last quarter of the year. But it sounds so obvious, doesn't it? And then I'm like, oh no, check yourself.
You've not heard it, have you? Yeah.
Yeah. If you've not heard it, you've not heard it. Yeah, we look forward to them too. We love a good Tuesday live session for sure. Right. So before we move on and talk about, like I said, what's happened over the last week or so, let's just have a quick demand check. As you know, the last few weeks, as we just heading into Q4. Oh my God, I've just realized this time next week it will be Q4 as
So
well.
I mean, yeah, that's what I mean.
Mental. Oh my God, I'm not prepared. This time next week it's going to be Q4 for sure. So as we've been doing the run up into Q4, as part of our business, we track certain keywords, seasonal based keywords that we know have an effect. This isn't a broad across the, covering every single element, every single niche, every single category, but it does give us a little bit of an idea about demand and what people are looking for on Amazon, especially over the seasonal period, compared to this time last year and the year before, or depending how long the data has been around. Now, we've talked about this previously, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we're essentially at the moment, we're tracking against last year, we're tracking against year COVID, which was when we were in proper lockdown, which we've not seen the figures the same as that year, 2020, because of obvious reasons. Everyone was ordering from Amazon because everyone, we're in lockdown.
Where else to order from? Yeah.
Absolutely. So the most relative year that we can refer to at the moment is the year before 2019. So last week compared to last year, we said that we were currently about half of the demand compared to last year, but overall we are still up compared to 2019. So looking good, not as good as last year as it stands at the moment. But this week, oddly enough, we seem to have taken a little bit of a turn, which is good. Turn for the good. So this year, so in the last week, the data's delayed, so it's like last week, not the week before. We've seen quite a big jump, actually. So we've seen approximately 36,000 people who are looking for this particular seasonal word on Amazon, compared to the same period last year, which is 47,000. So there's only a deficit of 10,000. Okay. Whereas the week before, it was 50% less. Whereas this is about 25% less. So we've caught up with it a little bit. I'm not going to track it to the COVID year, to be perfectly honest, because I really don't think
2020 is probably just.
Yeah, I really don't think
data because it's so skewed.
Yeah, I really don't think there's much point. But if I compare it to the same week the year before, in 2019, we are now 2.5 times more demand than the year, 2019. So that's taken me a little bit of surprise. Bearing in mind, there's been a lot going on, Queen's funeral, that type of thing. But in my opinion, it'd be interesting to see how you guys feel. This is how I feel about it. This last week, 10 days, the shops they're doing the change around.
Yeah.
Weather's got colder. We're definitely out of summer unless an Indian summer comes back in. The mind has started to shift towards Christmas now, towards winter, towards, whatever. That's how I feel about it. And I've already purchased, I went Christmas shopping last weekend. I've literally already started to purchase Christmas presents purely for the reason. And the data looks like what we thought might happen maybe is starting to happen. That people's minds are starting to adjust sooner because they know that they can't leave their Christmas shopping to the last minute.
Yeah.
Financially, they can't leave it to the last minute. They're going to have to spread it out a little bit more. So this could be one of the first years that we really do see a more consistent Q4 as opposed to being massively all packed into the last 6 weeks. It's too early to tell, of course, but the data is certainly suggesting that, Christmas is starting. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And the demand looks pretty good.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. It's cold. It's certainly cold up north. I've my coat on.
Not.
I've my coat on this week. Yeah. And also another thing, we're going to go on and talk about this anyway, about inflation and currency rates. People who are going to make these purchases anyway are probably bringing them forward because they're thinking in the back of their mind, I'm going to buy it anyway. I may as well buy it now because it could be more expensive in 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So I think people will be, rather than waiting in traditional, they will wait to see if it's going to go down. They will be buying it early to make sure that the prices don't go up or that they can't get what they want.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this has exactly happened to you this week. So let us know if you agree with that in the comments, guys, by the way. If you don't, we live in a democracy. So just because we say it doesn't mean it's right. We'd love to hear your
We live in a democracy, do we? This group's a democracy.
This group is a democracy. In my household, it's a dictatorship. That's the difference. But let us know your feelings on that. Is that how you're feeling? Do you feel the same? Because I always think, even with a small collective group of people, if a lot of people are kind of thinking the same thing, this is how they judge market research and things like that, taking a group of people. And if most people are on general consensus, then generally that's what tends to happen, to be perfectly honest. So it'll be interesting to hear other people's thoughts on this for sure. So whilst we're just waiting for those comments,
Hermes finds your comment hilarious.
He's already been trolling me today. I'm not happy with him. So let us know in the comments on that. But Matt, you've literally have something happen today. We were on a meeting earlier, and as we were literally on a meeting, something happened while we're on the meeting, and you were like, you did Natalie, you were completely distracted, and we were like, what's wrong? So tell us about what happened. And this is the sort of thing which I think completely agrees with what you've just said.
Yeah, real world. So we were on a meeting before discussing something, and I got an email from one of my suppliers. Now, I do a lot of what's called back-to-back deals. So I will have a supplier who essentially acts as the middleman, and they'll buy from their supplier, then bring it in, and then they'll sell it to me, and they'll put a little bit of money on. Now, works for me from a cash flow perspective, and they obviously have access to contacts that I don't. This particular supplier they were buying off was in Europe, and it was the main distributor in Europe. So we'd agreed a price, but there was a delay in getting it signed off, the deal. So we've been waiting 3 weeks. Now the deal had got signed off today, and the suppliers come back to me and said, we can't do this deal. It's been signed off, but I need another £750 off you because of the value of the currency. If I don't put this money on, then I'm going to lose money. So we can't do the deal. So this stock that's literally gone up £750, I think the deal's about 11 grand. So it's gone up quite a little, it's nearly
6%, 7%.
7% in a week. In a few weeks, because obviously when we agreed the deal, the exchange rate was 1.18. It's now 1.11.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you react to that?
Well, obviously you have to rework all the costs, but I did go for it in the end. I have accepted the price increase, but it's just one of them things. Either I'm going to have a bit less margin, 50p less margin in each unit, or I could have just said no to the deal.
So you went ahead with the deal, and I think ultimately it's in the market, your market and everything like that, and that's really important. This, especially in this Q4 as well. So while we'll talk about this, when we move on to talk about the supply chain stuff, is knowing your market is key. So you need to be looking at what you were selling last year. Matt knows his market. He knows the areas that he can sell in. He knows the areas that could absorb a certain cost increase or would not be able to absorb, certain cost increases. Of course, we are in a period of time of mass inflation. They're saying it's 11%. In reality, we all know it's like 20% plus. Whereas we are in a marketplace where the prices seem to be continually going down.
Yeah.
But that's down to behavior of sellers, not down to the consumer. The consumers are expecting prices to go up. And I'm not going to go down the price tanking rabbit hole at the moment. It's probably the worst we've ever seen it. But ultimately, I think it will.
That's again, what it is this is people who price tank, in my opinion, unless it's their strategy, i.e. they want to clear a huge amount of stock very quickly. they're doing it wrong, because that means they haven't got enough margin in the goods and they're panicking. You know, they need the sales, they need to get the money in, and that's why they're lowering prices. It's really, really important. This is why this deal was still fine for me, because when I agreed it, I'm putting extra margin in all of my deals now. I actually offered them probably 50p less than I would have ordinarily a year ago anyway for the equivalent stock. So when they put 50p back on, it wasn't a surprise to me. And I think it's really important when you are negotiating deals with suppliers, and particularly from wholesale, that you do make sure you've got that margin to cover you, because these currency fluctuations, if you're working off 5% margin, that's gone. That's just gone immediately overnight, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why having that in place, and we've talked about this, you know, selling on Amazon's like the stock market. It's very rare that you end up selling the product, you know, for what you sourced it at. And, you know, most people will set their prices automatically. This came from, you know, Johnny himself earlier, and we were talking about it. Most people will set their prices to an immediate reduction just based on, because they've got that momentum of kind of wanting to sell it. But it comes down to knowing the market that you're in. If you have taken the time to go and get your products from a shop, you've employed some of Matt's retail arbitrage strategies. Do you want to be employing the same strategy to one where you haven't made the effort to go out and get them? No, know your market and learn to kind of separate those. I'll just come to some comments quickly before we kind of move on. Zet said, I have to agree that people are already buying for Christmas, and a shop assistant told me that they're having people buying a lot more because of the fear of prices of going up. Absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest things at the moment. And potentially this Q4 is probably, on an Amazon point of view, the most sheltered we're going to be from a price point of view. Different sectors have different price increases, or have real-time price increases sometimes, and others don't. Amazon sellers tend to be quite delayed in their pricing, because by the time it gets to the Amazon market, it probably was paid for a minimum of 2 months ago. I'm not generally talking about resellers in particular. We are quicker to the market than private label sellers, but private label seller in particular, it's going to be a minimum of 2 months, possibly even 6 months. So it takes a little while for that to kind of trickle down. Classic Liz Truss, trickle down effect, but in terms of pricing. So, you know, make sure that you know your market and you are pricing accordingly as per supply and demand, because supply is going to become an issue over the next quarter, or certainly not in the next, maybe not so much in the next quarter, but the next quarter after that. Absolutely. But fear of price rises going up for sure. Simon says, think December will be quieter this year and October and November will be better on sales. I think I'm inclined to agree on that as well.
And there'll be less spikes as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be more consistent, which is better. It's better for everyone. I absolutely despise Black Friday. I understand why it's done, but it just puts unnecessary pressure on the courier networks, lost parcels, dispatch times, customer service goes out the window. I just think a much more sustained period is going to be better for everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Black Friday will be interesting this year. It's generally after that when we start to see all the silliness go out the window, and you know, the real kind of sales data starts to come in for what type of Q4 it's going to be for that last 6-week period of time. So that's going to be interesting this year to kind of monitor as well. Peter's joined us on YouTube. Welcome, Peter. He's asked, is there still a trucking lorry driver shortage? You never hear about it on the news anymore.
I think there is. I just think it's perhaps not bad, and the news has moved on to something else. Yeah. I think they have resolved some of it though, but obviously because they brought all these higher wages in, these bonus payments. I know what happened. I think actually there's a big bus driver shortage, because I know a lot of bus drivers, because they had the same license as HGV drivers, or perhaps they just needed a bit of conversion. They jumped ship from driving buses to driving wagons, because they're getting 30k driving a bus and 50k driving a wagon. So a lot of them did do that, and I think there's more of a bus driver shortage than a lorry driver shortage at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I know 2 separate people outside of the world of Amazon that have just signed on to become Amazon Flex drivers. Because, you know, whether there's a shortage, whether they're looking for that extra revenue. Well, I think it's probably a combination of the both, to be perfectly honest. Yvonne said so much to the trust business strategy. Don't worry, I don't think she's going to be around for long, to be fair. Shortest prime minister in history, I think that's going to be. So on YouTube, Tabitha, I'm assuming it's Tabitha. Sorry, I don't know if it is. With the increase of the cost of borrowing money as well, either margins will be cut or extra pressure for price increases. Now, that's an amazingly accurate point. You guys have got to make a decision, just as Matt has said there. Do you absorb the cost and do you cut your margin, or do you put your prices up? Now, time's going to tell over that one. You don't need to make a decision on that right now, but having a strategy in place is really important to be able to understand that those are the decisions, I suppose, that you are going to be faced with over the next 3 to 6 months in particular. You know, we are, as always, we'll blink. You know, it's Q4 next week. And I know exactly what happens. We will blink and it will be over, because
January again,
yeah, it'll be January again, and we will be sat here. You know, this is literally our last, never mind the buy box, before Q4. And I already know that it's going to be blink and we're going to be sat here for our last one of the year in our Christmas jumpers. That's what that's what it's going to be. Philip says, I have already put my prices up. My margins are higher and still selling. I think that's what it is. Be brave, guys. You know, buck the trend. I'll tell you what, if there's 10 people repricers fighting each other to follow it down, it's going to be so much less painful if 8 people step out, be brave, and say, look, we're not getting involved in this. Things will recover a lot quicker.
We will.
And I know everyone's sold the automation dream of automate everything and your life will be so easy to be able to do it. Do not. Part of your your plan and your strategy this year, get more involved in your business. Understand your business more, because that's what it's going to come down to, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I mean, it's not all bad news. I just looked at our Amazon account. Germany is outperforming the UK 2-1 at the minute this past week, and I'm sure the USA is probably. So this is the thing. Yes, it's bad for the UK, but there's still opportunity out there. You just got to pivot. So we'll now probably send more goods to Europe, because we can buy them in pound, but we can source in the UK and sell into the European Union.
I am not going to lie. I am one of the sickos that's like, dump the pound, because we sell a lot in the US. So when we sell a lot in the US, as we convert that money back, we actually are making profit on our conversion, converting it back. I don't want the pound to collapse, just before anyone says that, obviously. But to be perfectly honest, when I do a disbursement, we just literally did a disbursement of 4,000 a couple of days ago. Well, that is £4,000 essentially now.
Yeah.
The
euro is not far off either.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely part of business and being aware of that. So for me, I'll tell you exactly what part of my strategy is going to be over the next Q4, is whilst this continues with the pound being weak, it makes more sense for me to pile more cash flow into the US than it does the UK.
Yeah.
Because I make more back off of that. Now, I'm not an all in one, all your eggs in one basket type of person. I've been burnt too many times on that. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to attribution of budget, of cash flow, it makes more sense to put it where more profit is potentially going to come back. I've got more wiggle room. I've got more margin in the US. So it makes more sense to do that. So we all have to make these decisions in business for sure. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Luke. So that's what we're talking about here. What type of plan strategy do you have in place? Because when it comes to supply chain in particular, and this is something that is massively going to be affected over the next 3 to 6 months, the more resilient your supply chain is, the more secure your supply chain is there's going to be less chance to lose revenue, and it gives you more chance to mitigate risk over the next 3 to 6 months, because you're almost giving yourself a plan. So it needs to be step one, create your plan. And then step two, you need to back up that plan. Okay, so what happens in this case? So if you think about everything we've been doing and kind of talking about in this group when it comes to supply chain over the last, well, ever since we really started, wasn't it? It's all about diversification, but not in the same way of shiny object syndrome, not starting a new model, not, starting this as in, don't go from Amazon straight to Etsy and we'll sell you, an Etsy course or anything like that. But it's diversifying within that model in itself. Matthew has massive success with retail arbitrage in his business. Well, that's him securing his supply chain. If I can't get it as part of my back-to-back deal, then I know that I've got the backup of retail arbitrage.
Yeah.
So that's why we included that model to start with. Retail arbitrage. If you guys can't get it online, get up, get out in the car and find it. We've provided you guys with the blueprint, I suppose, to be able to do that. You're securing your supply chain. If you can't get it online, if Boots cut you off, get down to your local Boots. Go in there and buy the stuff.
Yeah.
That's securing your supply chain to be able to do that. Now, the supply chain, like we said, we all learned a massive lesson during COVID. And it's definitely going to be something that is going to be repeated this time, but in a slightly different way. Whereas COVID, all the shops shut, that's not going to happen this time. But could your supply chain be broken because costs go up, as we all expect them to, but Amazon hasn't moved yet? Well, you need to think about a different way that you can, potentially secure that stock. Or are you going to secure it and maybe buy it for a later stage? All of these different types of things. So, when it came to COVID, it was we were all protected by furlough and bounce backs and everything like that for a really long period of time. Now it's real world.
Yeah, real world time.
It's now real world, which means putting in a little bit of a strategic plan in how you want to secure your supply chain over the next 3 to 6 months. So like I said, think about what you do now. Look at the type of products that you're going to be selling over the next 3 to 6 months. And what can you do, or what can you do? Go through a mental, I suppose, walkthrough of, okay, what happens if my supplier cuts me off? What if the price goes too high? What if I can't get it anymore? What if they cancel my account? Where are you going to get that from next? Because I'll tell you what, the majority of people will just say, oh, I can't get it anymore.
And this is the thing, with a lot of OA particularly, you always remember, if you're buying it from a retailer, there's a supplier behind that.
Mm-hmm.
There's always somebody further down the chain, unless you're buying at source, which I don't think anybody is, unless you've got very, very deep pockets. There's always somebody behind that.
Yeah. You can get from source, but obviously they tend to be smaller, kind of manufacturers. I know you're talking about your Legos and,
yes, I mean, you're not getting direct Lego unless you've got very deep pockets.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, and they won't supply you. They're not interested in Joe Blogs that sell on Amazon. They're interested in Amazon. They ain't interested in you. And it's about being aware of that. But
interesting story. I approached Apple for direct supply once.
Did you?
Yeah. Do you know what the minimum purchase requirement is?
What?
$1.5 million every 90 days.
So per quarter?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the minimum purchase requirement to buy direct from Apple, is $1.5 million every 90 days.
Do you know what? Actually, that is not as surprising as I thought. I thought it would be more.
It's a lot of money, though.
I know it's a lot of money. I know it's a lot of money, but I actually thought it would be more. So I suppose Apple are a little bit like a BMW franchise or a car dealership. Like if you have a car dealership, you're expected to purchase a X amount,
Yeah.
and that would be presumably the same with Apple. I suppose you have to, whatever happens, you just have to have that X amount. Yeah, okay, it's quite a lot. Yeah. Oh, mind you, oh no, I was going to say it would be a lot now because it would cost you a lot more in the dollar as well. So,
Yeah.
that's the important thing.
Even more, yeah, it'd be even more now, yeah.
Exactly. So the first thing you guys need to do is you need to plan. You need to plan and recession proof your strategy. Is your strategy recession proof? That's the way that you've got to look at it. If the shop that you purchased that product from, if it shuts down, what happens? You're going to stop supplying? As Matthew says, there's probably a good chance that they're being supplied from someone else. So you just need to pivot and you need to look for it in a different way. Now, it might well be that it's another retailer. It might well be that, but it's another retailer that's not particularly friendly to online arbitrage. So you need to pivot and go down the shop and get it. It may well be that no other retailers sell it. It might be that it only is sold to a wholesaler or a distributor or something like that. Well, then you need to change your strategy and you need to kind of pick up the phone and get in there and see, be honest and say, I'm this person. We supply X amount of sales platforms. We used to purchase this particular good from here. No point lying about it. They no longer sell it. What's the best way that I can, open an account to be able to be supplied that product? And what's the worst thing they're going to say? No.
No. Exactly.
You're not going to die from the word no. It's as simple as that. So plan. Have a look at the type of products that you sold this time last year going into Q4, which is still one of the, I think, the most simplest but undervalued bits of advice you can give. See what you sold last year.
Yeah.
And
what surprised you? What took off? What do you sell for a lot of money that you didn't think you would sell for so much money?
Yeah, absolutely. And have a look at what you sold in December last year. We already know Christmas has started. Is it selling now? You don't have to wait until December to sell December products. So start to put that plan in place. And then the next thing you can do is, I know I just slagged off automating a business, but then is there any way that you can adopt it into any of the softwares that you use? Do you use a software that you can potentially at some point in the future, will it tell you about replenishment of that particular product, stock levels, that type of thing? If you have the ability to be able to do that either through manual automation, that's something that you need to be able to do, which is the next step. And then finally, like I said, absolutely make sure you put yourself in the right place at the right time. That's what happened in COVID. The people that did well in COVID, it wasn't luck. It was because they put themselves in the right place at the right time. And that's strategy. That's not luck, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if you agree with that, Matt.
No, I believe it's strategy. And also it's a time thing. Similar for me, I people, say I've had good luck. It's like, no, I've had more time, which means I've had more opportunity by more strategy, and it just all pays off over longer periods of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, even if you don't believe in that, I'm a firm believer in you throw enough at the wall,
something's going to stick. Yeah,
something's going to stick. Whatever way whatever kind of philosophy that you want to look at. So if you put that plan in place, then what you are able to do is move higher up the supply chain, or further up the supply chain, I suppose. And then what happens is when you start to talk to these people that are higher up in the supply chain, yes, you can build relationships with people in retail shops, with managers and things like that. Absolutely. And we fully recommend that. Matt spoke about that in the Retail Arbitrage Masterclass. But you get much more of an opportunity to do it when you start talking to wholesalers, distributors, brand exclusives, brand owners, manufacturers. much more opportunity to build relationships with those type of people. And how you can secure your supply chain moving forward is by taking the time to talk to them, build that relationship, understand what they're going through, ask them, what's your plan? How are you going to combat this? Has the recent increase in the dollar, how has it affected your business? You know, you can go through and you can open these conversations with people. Now, if you start doing that with Liz on the checkout at Tesco, you might not.
What you're about.
Yeah, you might not get that far, to be perfectly honest. But if you are a wholesaler, these are massively important questions in your business, in their business, that they would have had extensive discussions about. And if you're taking the time to ask them about that, not only are you get a bit of an insight into their business a little bit more, they might say to you, oh, don't worry, we're not affected. We buy in pounds or we buy in euros. So a bit like me, if I'm selling in, you know, from that point of view, everyone's thinking, oh my God, the pound's collapsing. Whereas I'm, you know, rubbing my hands together a little bit to be perfect.
I'm diversified, that I'm swinging on both currencies. So it's whichever one, you know, if the euro is performing well, then I'll just put more into euros. And if the pound's doing well, I'll put more into pounds. So
yeah, absolutely. So don't assume, and I made a post about this at the start of the week as well. Don't assume just because it's affecting the masses badly that it's going to affect you know, kind of anyone else essentially, or everyone's not going to be in that boat. But if you open up and you have these discussions with people, and then what will naturally happen, it sounds cheesy, but the next type of conversations you have with that, it depends on what type of person you are. I'm very good at remembering conversation I've had with someone. So the next time I speak to them, I can say, well, do you know what, when we spoke last time, what happened in this scenario? How did that work for you? That is what negotiation, building relationships, making yourself stand out. And then next time you pick up the phone, they pick up the phone to you. They don't avoid you. Or you're the one that they call with that deal that they want to get rid of. And I know that's something that you do very well within your business. You make sure you're that call.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is the people skills, and you know, being friendly with people, taking them out for a drink, and being the top of the list, because that's where you get the really good deals.
Yeah, absolutely. So Paul has joined us. Hi, Ben's watching as well. Good afternoon, Ben. Yvonne said, is that sending the product to the US, do you mean, for arbitrage, or products already in the US? So I have a combination of both. Of those models, but ultimately the ones that are already in the US already have been imported into the US anyway, and they have really high margins, so which is the private label product essentially. So there would have been a conversion at some point, but it would have been quite a long time ago in relation to that conversion. But either way, we're still massively up on the difference of conversion, because the other thing that you can do for any private label guys out there at the moment, for the same reason we earn more back in our pound with the dollar, the guys in China that are converting the dollar to their local currency are in exactly the same position. So people are saying, oh God, well, this is awful for private label because the dollar's so strong and things like that. Well, actually, if you're in the know and you've got a mouth in your head, then you're able to say to them, well, you're converting that back, so therefore you're earning more. Can I have a discount? You know, that's something, but that's, again, being aware of your market, being aware of what's going on. That's absolutely the, you know, the
another thing as well. If you do sell in the US in your particular instance, because we do this with our euros, we keep the currency, we hold the currency. So if you have a private label product, okay, let's say for example, you sell some in the US, you then keep those dollars and use all those dollars against the payments for, you know, for the next lot of stock, and then you kind of keep the UK sales as the money and draw that down to pay your expenses. That's what we do with the euro money. Most of the euros go back into buying European stock in euros, and we only take a small amount out as to cover the expenses. The UK business really kind of covers all the operating costs, and it's the others, that the eBay and Shopify and the EU sales, that kind of make all the profit.
Yeah, absolutely. Diversification, but in the right possible way. That's the way to look at it. Luke said, sold 3 advent calendars this week. Couldn't believe it. That's because Christmas has started. It's already here, guys, for sure. Paul said, I've moved to Wholesale at the beginning of the year and left OA. It was hard work at the beginning and the light at the tunnel was barely visible, but now it's paying off. We do have sustainable sales every day, but we do not see wholesalers' stock is not sustainable as there is short or stock shortages are there already. There's stock shortages kind of across the board ultimately, but again, it depends at what level of wholesale you are as well. If it's that wholesale that supplies retail, again, need to think about maybe moving up the supply chain a little bit more. Now that you've got a proven product that sells, you will have the confidence to be able to move up that supply chain, and you can go to the next person up, find out who the distributor is it on the packaging, that type of thing. Find out who that distributor is at the next level, the next step up the ladder, and you can go in and say, look, I've been selling this product for a period of time. If I was to buy X amount of this product, how much can you do it for? Essentially, there's always, generally, unless you're already at the manufacturer, there's always a step up that you can potentially make. But of course, it comes down to cash flow and confidence in the product. Yeah. And that's the way you got to look at this model a little bit. It's progression. You test the waters with arbitrage. Does it work? Doesn't it work? Okay, can I replenish it? Great. It becomes a little bit of a seller, but I know I'm missing out on sales because I can't stay in stock for a certain period of time. Well, that's generally when you make the move to wholesale to get a more continued stock. Now, you might not actually be able to buy it as cheap as you can buy it retail, but the important thing is you stay in stock longer. So you reduce your margins, but overall your profit is bigger because you've managed to stay in stock longer. And then once you're able to do that, then you can start to move up the ladder in terms of negotiation. Well, guess what? I'm already buying X amount from here, but they can't supply me. They can't keep me in stock. What are you able to supply me? And that's what it's all about. It's like a game of chess or a game of Thrones.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's 100%. My business is very similar. I know I go on about retail arbitrage, and for me, retail arbitrage is a big part of my business, but it's not the biggest part. The wholesale is the biggest part. It's the everyday, the consistent sales that pays the bills. And then the retail arbitrage is kind of the cherry on the cake that makes all my profit. The thing with, and also it's a nice diversification, but the thing with retail arbitrage is great for beginners. It's great. You can scale it to a point. You can make good money, but you think about the effort required in running retail arbitrage on a big scale. You think about the costs involved. Sometimes buying more units at a higher price and making slightly less from wholesale can be just as good as buying a few from retail arbitrage.
Yeah, absolutely. David said, spooky timing. Been talking to brands and distributors today, see what channels we can get their products through. One response, and this is my favorite type of objection handle. We are having a huge problem with Amazon resellers competing with each other and knocking the prices down considerably. So last year we decided to stop running any promotions. Whoops. For me, that is a massive opportunity to go in to that particular supplier and say, do you know I'm an X amount of seller? I've been selling on Amazon for X amount of time. Most people aren't aware that if there are ways that you can protect your brand integrity, you can protect your pricing on Amazon, and you can limit the amount of sellers who are selling on Amazon by the programs that Amazon run. And guess what? It so happens I'm an expert in that area. So let me help you do it. That's literally one of my favorite conversations. And you know what? The good chance is they've probably never heard that. No one said that to them before. So they tend to be like blown away by that. And they're a bit like, oh, okay. Well, what can you offer? But don't panic. This is the biggest tip I can give to anyone. In that scenario, don't panic and think, oh, I'm not going to say it because I don't know what to say. Because then at that point, what you can do is say, well, tell me a little bit more about the business, get them to give you all of the information. You can record it, you can write it down, and you can do whatever and say, well, I want to give this the perfect amount of consideration and respect. So let me take all this information, go away, and I'll come back to you with a proposal. And then you can panic, at that point after that.
Pack it all together, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can put it all together. But this is part of the reason why we created the community. You can reach out to people. You can reach out to me. I'll help anyone, in any type of situation where you can say, wow, this opportunity. And I've got to be honest, I think most definitely over the last couple of months, I have had more people coming to me with that opportunity than anything else and saying, look, Nat, I had a conversation because I talk about this a lot in Elite Sellers Academy. I had this conversation come up. This is what happens. How do I approach them? How do I go back with them with that? And it just works every single time because what they're used to hearing is knock, knock, knock. I'm an Amazon seller. Well, sell me your stuff. Flip it around, different approach, same outcome. And actually, not even same outcome, better outcome, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, go back to them in that scenario. But that's about what having that strategy is about and having that plan in place. So I'm down Natalie's speech. Just a quick question before we move on. So Matt's German business, is it a separate entity?
No, same business, but it's got its own VAT number, but that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what? I think with a lot of this, you just got to say it with, you just got to say it with confidence at the end of the day. And then literally you can panic afterwards, but don't show panic and don't, just take a breath.
Say you can do it and then figure out a way to do it afterwards.
And worst case scenario, you go back to them and you say, do you know what? I've looked at it and this, this opportunity isn't going to be right for me for this reason. And I'll tell you what, they will respect you so much more for not wasting their time and pulling their leg. That's the way that I see it, certainly at all. So that's what it's about. So just to recap, guys, get that plan in place, automate it if you can. Absolutely. If you've got the ability to be able to do that, and then try and work out what the backup plan is. We've already covered it with the retail arbitrage masterclass. So if boots cut you off, you can get yourself down there, you can plan it, you can do it strategically. That's the first part of that particular brand. It's like a branch. It's like a branch of it, right? So what we wanted to be able to do, because as you guys know, Johnny joined us actually for a different reason a few months ago. We welcomed him into the group, for his just massive knowledge when it comes to selling on Amazon, for his ability to be able to create solutions to things, but not only that, but to be able to kind of work with his knowledge for that supply chain, discovering wholesalers that are not on Google, the ones that are not, in the immediate forefront of, the lowest kind of hanging fruit. So what we've done, and with you guys' permission, so if it's okay with you, we've put together an event which we asked you about within the group, if it was something that you would be interested in. We've put this together and we think it's a little bit unique. So what we've done is we've put together an event starting next Monday, which will give everybody the opportunity to be able to move up that supply chain, to do what Paul's done, to take a certain part of the business, to be able to look at it in a different way and to be able to put together a plan and a strategy to be able to, I suppose, no guarantee in words, recession proof your business as much as possible.
Yeah.
And in addition to what we've already gone through with the retail arbitrage side of things, but on the wholesale distribution side of things. So if it's okay with you, we just want to spend kind of 10 minutes running through it just to see whether or not it's something you guys are interested in. As always, we give so much as what we can for free. It is a paid event, but it is something that I think you'll find that we always talked about that we want to be able to offer as much value
it's
as
exceptional value. There's no word about it, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. But we are
Not being modest, but there you go.
we are a little bit biased. So if it's okay, no one's saying it's okay. So I'll take silence as a yes. But everyone's still here. So fingers crossed. Okay, so starting next Monday, we are going to run a private 5-day wholesale acceleration challenge. Okay, so you guys have heard of these challenges before, where it's an intense period of time, Monday to Friday, where we cover one subject and we go through it in depth. But there's kind of like a different subject every day, but under the main umbrella of wholesale.
Yeah.
Now, I actually think wholesale is a little bit of a general term for this. It really should be more about securing supply chain, essentially. So this is what it's going to be about. So it's going to be led by Johnny. Okay, so he's going to do and be in charge of the majority of the training. It's going to be in a live group setting. And it's going to be done Monday to Friday every day for 5 days, but not all day every day. We don't know approximately how long the sessions are going to be, but I would imagine, knowing us, they're probably going to be anywhere between an hour and a half to 2.5 hours, every single day to be able to do that. And they're going to be led by Johnny, who's going to guide you through all the essential areas that he's implemented in his business to be able to grow his business to a position where he's top 250 UK seller on Amazon. Now, just to make that absolutely clear, that's not top 250 in revenue. So he's not, music magpie Johnny Smith in terms of revenue. That is in the amount of units sold. Okay, so let's just make that absolutely clear. That's in the amount of units sold, because I don't want anyone saying, oh, it's this or that or whatever. But to me, that's more important, because it's about the systems, the processes, the automations, and everything that he's been able to put in place, which is so impressive from Johnny's point of view.
It's incredible what he's put together.
Yeah, Johnny's currently in Italy.
Lake Cardiff.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. It's so impressive, and I've not really seen anyone that's been able to do it to the extent that Johnny has. That he's able to do this and run his, soon to be multiple 7-figure business from his own warehouse whilst he's not there. Okay, so this is the guy, definitely, in my opinion, to want to listen to when it comes to this, for sure. So he's going to lead the majority of the training. It's going to start next Monday. It's going to run for 5 days, and like I said, we're just going to invite you to go through all the strategies, everything that's going to be involved, and we're going to cover different subjects on different days relating to it. But it will be something that everything that you will need will be covered. So the reason we wanted to do this over 5 days as opposed to, a 6-week course or something like that, is doing this, being on the consumer end and also running training events before myself, is some of the time people get put off of doing it because they can't implement it in time for Q4. Well, we don't want to get in the way of your Q4. We can deliver you the same amount of information in this kind of shock and awe group live setting coaching. And it's been pretty much proven that by delivering the training in this way, it's much more beneficial. I know all of you have been part of these 5-day challenges before, and you just they're really motivating, they're exciting, and you get all of the information. You're more likely to implement that information in that period of time than it being spread out. So that's why we've decided to do it. And we don't want to get in the way of your Q4. So this will be the last event we'll probably run during Q4.
We were saying this before, I think this is kind of Q4. November is going to be heavy Q4 time, isn't it? So
exactly. We've got our own Q4s to be getting on with. So we want to give you the means, the ability to be able to use this information in Q4. Because like I said, it's great getting all this information, but ultimately, if we started it now, and we were to finish up in mid-November, that's all very well, but a lot of the time you might not be able to take advantage of that until next year. But you're going to be able to have that information to be able to start, and to be able to have like immediate impact to start with. So let me run through some of the things that it's going to cover. We're going to cover everything that you need to know to adopt these proven selling strategies or methods into your business. So I'm just reading this off the list. We'll give you a link in a minute, guys, so you can go through and read all this for yourself. But ultimately, the first day, we're going to be covering a full introduction to wholesale, how it can grow your business. We're going to be going through mistakes, dispelling myths about wholesale, what you can and what you can't do, essentially. We're going to talk about all the different wholesale selling methods as well, and models. Again, like I said, we've talked about wholesale as an umbrella. It's much deeper than that. We said there about, stock shortages at one level. Well, it's only at that level. It could be much easier to be able to obtain the stock higher up the chain.
Yeah,
for sure. Building solid wholesale systems, maximizing your spending as well to be able to compound profit, because probably a bit like Parwell has experienced maybe already, I'm not sure, is when you move away from arbitrage and move into wholesale, you probably do have to expect lower margins to be able to do it. It's as simple as that. But if you can compound those, you can still make just as much money. Leveraging pallet systems for prep and ultimate profitability, tips and tricks on how to open the best possible wholesale accounts, how to identify the most profitable wholesalers, how to contact wholesalers and build the best relationships. We've already talked a little bit today about how you can do that. In-depth and advanced wholesale sourcing techniques. Johnny's going to step in on so day 2 and 3 are going to cover mainly sourcing, building relationships, building that content. Johnny's going to go into keeper sourcing mastery. He's going to go into how to best maximize when a supplier gives you a list, gives you a wholesale list of how you can run through that, how you can best maximize that through using tools like Keeper. So tools that are already at your disposal. The art of supplier negotiation. Spotting brand exclusivity and joint venture opportunities. Again, we've already sort of covered that a little bit, that you can use to build additional income streams or extra buffers within your business during these kind of tough times. And then we're also going to be looking at, probably on day 4, how you can create your own opportunities using wholesale as well. It's a massively untapped market to be able to get access to all of these really unique wholesale lists, which 95% of what's on there is not going to be suitable for you to sell. But if you can create your own opportunities out of that information of what is suitable to sell, then you're massively opening up that percentage to you a little bit more. We're also, God, how are we going to fit all this in? We're also going to be covering inventory stock control for wholesale, accounting and administration automation, and basically ongoing hands-off management of your wholesale business. So we're going to pack all of that information into a 5-day period. I'll be honest, I don't know if there's much more that needs to be covered than that, but we are massively we're going to pack that in. Now, I see Simon's already asked a question about the content afterwards. Now, traditionally, what happens with 5-day challenges, the content is not available. What happens is you watch it live, and the reason you watch it live is to be able to maximize the information. So we're going to give people the choice on this. There is no upsell at the end of the 5 days, which again is traditionally what you normally see. Join our group, buy our software, do this. We're not going to do that. We can run it as a 5-day intense masterclass, I suppose, on steroids.
Yeah, 5 masterclasses, I would think you could say.
Yeah, all on the
5
same
masterclasses.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but we're going to give people the opportunity, because sometimes if you put yourself in a position that you have to take action on it, you haven't got recordings to go back, back over, then you have to take action on that information. It's as simple as that. But we're going to leave that up to people by giving people different, options to be able to do that. So we have 3 different options here. And again, I'll leave these up to people. I'm not going to run through them massively because you guys probably want to think about what one you want to do. So to join us for 5 days live, no upsells. Like I said, this is what it's going to be. Just to watch the video, be part of the environment, ask questions live, things like that. We're going to be doing that and offering a seat in the group for that for £99 for 5 days worth of information. So that's just live for 5 days. So that's our gold package. We were having a conversation.
We did, didn't we?
Silver, so we do gold, and then we couldn't think of anything else. So we've just gone down that route. Now, the next option is our platinum package, which you get access to join us live, ask the questions, everything like that. But the difference is here, we will give you and package up all the recordings afterwards. Okay, we will do that and we will send them to you so you can go back to them and refer to them at any time. Plus, there's going to be a bonus video from Johnny on how to access wholesale suppliers in a way I have never seen anybody do that before. So to be able to do all of that, join us live, get the recordings and get the access to the additional content. That is our platinum package, and that is $199. And then finally, we've got the diamond package, which is everything that we've talked about there, but with one additional benefit, which is going to appeal to some people more than it's going to appeal to others. So this will get you the diamond package, everything we've already discussed. In addition, we are going to run a masterclass. We're going to run a masterclass in January, which is a brand exclusive masterclass. Because of everything we need to go through in the wholesale section, we do not have enough time to be able to go through that in addition. And I think it would be too much information at once. So we're going to run a separate masterclass, which I think will probably end up running over 2 days anyway as well. Can't see it just being 1 day, where I'm going to lead that. And we're going to focus on brand exclusivity, joint ventures, and opportunities for you to be able to create additional income streams by working and managing people's Amazon accounts. So that is our brand exclusive mastermind, which we're going to run in January. Now, again, that's probably not going to be for everyone, but at the end of the day, it is going to give you an opportunity to be able, in tough times, to create an additional income stream of something that you're already doing, but just doing it for someone else. And like I said, this is one of the biggest areas that I've seen people be able to do. We have one client. We don't have, hundreds of clients that we do this for. But you know me, I do not put all of my eggs in one basket. We have one client who we run their account and we do everything for them. And it's no word of a lie to say that it is a full-time income just based on that. So if you are someone that is already doing this as a side hustle or whatever, and you don't know if over the next 12 months in a recession that you can make that step just through the basis of selling your own products, this could be the way for you to do it, to be able to run and manage other people's accounts. So that's what the masterclass is going to cover in January, but we're going to save that for January as something else to look forward to after the Christmas period. Yeah. So if you want all of that,
January is super timed for that because I think we are in for tough times, and you can have this joint venture where potentially you can have all your bills paid for, your mortgage paid for by running someone else's account, and then all the money you make out of your own account is just profit that you can enjoy life with, Exactly. And also it's potentially a much more stable income, because if you're charging a fixed fee every month for running their account, you know exactly okay, yes, the agreement could come to an end, but you know exactly what revenue is going to be coming in, which will make life a lot easier for a lot of people next year.
Absolutely. Automate your own business, then run someone else's if that's what you want to do. Absolutely. And you do not need to be a salesperson to do it. what will happen is you will put yourself in a position, if you do the first part of what we're talking about here, the opportunities will automatically come to you. There is no word of a lie in that respect. So if you want all of it, if you want the full diamond experience, then for all of that, bearing in mind you get the masterclass next year as well, and one other additional benefit, you can have all of that for $299. So we've got we made it pretty simple, guys. Gold 99, platinum 199, and diamond is 299. And the extra that you will get with the diamond package is not only do you get the so it's like an early bird, essentially, the diamond package. So for the extra £99, when we come to launch that in January, which we will do at the time, it will not be £99. That's essentially you're getting an early bird price.
Getting a discount, yeah.
Yeah, but the addition of what you're going to get is I will supply you with my joint venture agreement as well, which is a document that you can supply, because that's the biggest question I get. Well, I've done this deal. And normally my answer to people is, well, you need to go and get a solicitor to draw it up. Well, I will supply you with a copy of the template that we use. It's an agreement. It's not a legally binding one. But unless you are prepared to both sit down with solicitors and go through it, it's as good as you're going to get. So I will supply you with a template of a copy of that as well, which is literally worth hundreds of pounds and time and effort of getting a solicitor to write one for you. So that's what you will get within the full $299 package, which I think you agree.
It's bargain.
It's a bargain.
we're not. I think we discussed this before, weren't we? We're not in the business of putting like this is worth this and you get it for this. We said literally that joint venture agreement, that's what it's going to cost you if you went to a solicitor, sort of £500 to £1,000 for them to draw that up for you. It's probably 3 hours work. It's probably £500,000. That's why we put that value on it. It's not that we're trying to say, oh, it's worth this and you're getting a massive discount. We're not doing that marketing kind of stuff. It's just genuinely that is what you would be paying if you went to a solicitor to have that drawn up.
Yeah, absolutely. So Matthew's put the link in the comments, so you guys get the opportunity.
You do the YouTube for me, because I'm not signed in, unfortunately. I can't post to YouTube.
Can somebody do it, Cindy? I know that you're there, or Matt Cromie, if you're there to be able to do it. You know, I never get prepared for anything like that at all. But let us know, guys. I mean, like I said, it's a little bit different. We've done it specifically for a reason. We've done it to benefit everybody in a way that we feel best will, but at the same time, we think offering massive value to everyone that really does want to get into this space, or try and get into this space without having to pay out thousands and thousands for a course, having to wait a really long time for the information to be delivered. Because genuinely, what happened, I've done this always. I've been on the end of it. I have supplied this type of training before, where you wait weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks to be able for it to happen, in a course settings. And sometimes what can happen is you're kind of over it by the time it's finished, and you're less likely to implement it. So, unless it's something like Elite Sellers, where it's on an ongoing basis, where we have to do it on a weekly basis because there's so many changes all the time. This type of information, it's what I would call your your go-to kind of information. A lot of this information, strategies change, methods change, things like that. But this is your kind of rock solid information that doesn't really change over the years. And it does, some of it does need updating, but that's part of the reason why we have groups and things like that, obviously. But ultimately, this is the go-to information that will serve you well for years to come. And you don't have to be a big seller. You don't have to be, or you could be a big seller that's looking to implement this part of your business. So ultimately, we've tried to do it to appeal to as many different people as possible, at whatever level of seller you at, or whatever budget. And that's the important thing as well, because I think some people associate wholesale with, I need thousands in cash flow to be able to deal with it. No, it might be a case of, your first step on that ladder might just be going from retailer to the next level supplier, or from smaller retailer to big retailer. We're going to cover it all. So it's something that you don't have to have thousands of pounds to be able to get into. But ultimately, if you want to be able to work your way through this recession, you've got to back up that supply chain. It's as simple as that. And that's what it comes down to. So has anyone got any questions? Does anyone want anything more explaining on what it is? I'm conscious I've talked for a really long period of time on that. I think the link has gone in. So
yeah, it should be on both now. I've put it on both. So if anyone... Oh, yeah, good question. What time will the course run?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Good idea to be able to do that. So what we've done is we tried to appeal to, to most as well. I do this all the time. Is we are going to run it as it stands. Did we agree this? Did we?
Yeah, we did. Monday to Wednesday is in the evening.
Monday to Wednesday, it's going to be 7 o'clock. And then on Thursday and Friday, it's going to be at 1 o'clock. So a little bit of a diversification. Yeah.
So the 1 o'clock, obviously, because the ESA is in the evening. So if anyone's on ESA, then they can do both. And nobody wants to work on a Friday night. So,
well, that was my reasoning as well. I just thought, I've been part of these 5-day challenges before, and the Friday everyone just whittles away because everyone's got way more time to be able to better things to be doing on a Friday. Paul said, who'll be running the Johnny one? It'll mainly be me that will be running that one, but it'll either be Johnny or Matt that will be on it. Probably Matt, actually, I would say, because you're probably the one that's got the most experience in relation to that as well. But ultimately, that's down to the relationships and everything that I've built over the years, and how you can turn what you're already doing into an additional income.
Yeah. So we have a couple of questions. So how the training is going to be delivered as well. We're going to when you purchase, you'll get access to the group. You can join the group, and the training is going to be delivered through the group, similar to how it is with this and ESA as well. So that's how we're going to be delivering the training.
Do you know what, Rosie? We've decided not to run a group separately on this, because really being honest is, when you set up a separate Facebook group, people forget about it. They post in the standard group anyway. It's a lot of ag running extra groups, and did they post here and did they post that? So we've actually decided not to do a specific support group, in the sense that we hope that everybody knows us well enough now that they can reach out to us if they need to, or general support inquiries you can just post in the ecom group anyway. Now, of course, we appreciate that everyone doesn't want to post sensitive information or anything like that. So you can at that point, you can just reach out to one of us. If what I will say, because I'm always the person, if something needs to change, it needs to change. It's as simple as that. If we find that there is a need for specific support, then at a later stage, we may put something together if there's just so many questions. But I'm hoping that everything that we cover in the training will be enough. Paula said, I'm babysitting my kids. So my second half is going abroad. 7 is a killer, as I need to look after my 2 devils. Well, like I said, for the platinum, you will get the recordings. It's entirely up to you. That's why we put those options in place to be able to do it. So, but we do have the 2 sessions that are being run on lunchtime.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so you get access to all the recordings, won't you? So you'll be able to sorry, I just clicked myself on YouTube because I got the YouTube open. I was like, this isn't what I'm looking at myself in like previous time. Yeah, no, so you get access to all the recordings, and you get to keep them forever, so you can review the information at your leisure, go back through it.
Yeah, let me just give you a quick. So what it will be, first day 1, it will be me, Matt, and Johnny. And we'll just be covering the separate introduction. Day 2, it will be me and Johnny. Day 3, it'll be me and Johnny. Day 4, it'll be me and Johnny. What? Where's Matt? Yeah, so
in 2
day
days.
2 and 3, it'll. Oh, have I written that wrong? Maybe. Day 2 and 3, it's predominantly, it's all around sourcing. It's definitely all around sourcing. Day 4 is going to be predominantly me, so creating your own listings, looking at that kind of opportunity, that type of thing. And then day 5, I think it's Matt and Johnny, because that's going to be more the ongoing support, inventory issues, dealing with problems, accounting, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul says I'll go for diamond anyway, so no worries. And you can chat to us for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Lizette says, my recommendation is to have a separate group for the challenge and then close it after it's done. If you run the challenge again, you open the group, unless it's, of course, you're hosting the videos on the webpage. So, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. So it's going to be run. Actually, I should explain the kind of infrastructure, actually, of what it's going to be. So the challenge will be run through a specific Facebook group. When you purchase the link, is this right, Matt? Sorry. When you purchase the link, you should receive a link to join a Facebook group.
So what will happen? Yeah, so if you
I'll let you explain it.
Yeah, so we'll go on the checkout page. There should be a link in the comments on both YouTube and Facebook now. But if you're struggling, we'll put a post afterwards anyway. So, in fact, shall I share it? Would that be really clever? Would that be amazing? See if I can share it.
What, the Facebook group?
No, the sales page.
Yeah.
If it'll let me do it.
If you can.
Oh, I don't know if it's gonna let me do it. Let me see if I can.
Probably don't open with. Oh, that'll be really clever.
Yeah, it's not
it turns out.
No, so basically, what happens is you go to the sales page. There's the 3 different options. When you click on your purchase, what will happen is it'll take you to a post checkout page. So please make sure you wait for that page to come up before you kind of close off. There'll be a link to the group in there. And then you'll also, when you've signed up, you'll get an email, and you'll also get a link to the group through the email as well.
Yeah, cool. Anna said the 5-day course, can we still reach out if we need to for a little bit of support questions to us? Absolutely. My only reason of not creating an additional Facebook group is I've seen it before. Honestly, what happens is people end up posting in the main group anyway. Questions get lost because, you've got too many plates to spin and things like that. And I want to create an environment. I think we've already created it, but I want to reinforce the fact that, when we started this group and building this environment and this culture, that we're accessible to you guys.
Yeah.
We're not the type of, I've seen people do these type of things afterwards and then say, but don't contact me. Don't send me a PM. You're never going to hear back from me or whatever. And that's not me being critical of other people. I know some people don't have either the capacity or the ability. Sorry, no, it's not Plus VAT. This is a brand new company. So it's not VAT registered. So either enjoy it or it's either enjoy not being VAT. But for most people, if you're VAT registered, it doesn't make any difference in that respect. But if you're not VAT registered, you get it cheaper for sure. So I want to create a culture of you guys can reach out to us at any point. Yes. If you send me a message at 3 a.m. on a Sunday, I'm not going to get back to you at 3 a.m. on a Sunday. But I want you guys to be able to feel that you can contact us, that you can talk to us. You can reach out to us if you need to. I've already given myself carpal tunnel by replying to so many messages over the years. Whoever. Oh, Matt Cromie asked, is it that? Oh, I think someone else also did it. Welcome aboard, Powell. Thanks for joining. No, I think it's going to be really good. It's going to be different perspective, and it's going to be one of those things, even if you've done previous courses before or something like that, having it delivered in this way, I think will be really different. And I know Peter said earlier, it's like, some people are scared to join these challenges a little bit because you think, oh, here comes the upsell. What are they going to sell me next? What are they going to do this? Whereas I've seen the power of how well these challenges work. from a psychological point of view, from a motivation point of view, from a taking action point of view. But then people kind of get put off with the upsell at the end, which is, you know, by the way, there's no criticism from that, from my point of view. It's one of those things that, but you just kind of know with this, you got that peace of mind. You're safe in the knowledge that you're not going to be sold anything, and nothing's going to be held back. It's all being pumped into this course, you know, or course of information. So if it's training, education, I don't know. It's a different way of doing it. I don't know what it is, really. Information delivery.
It's kind of like a mini course, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, but you still get this exactly the same. It's like a 6-week course.
Yeah.
Just over a more condensed period of time. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the outcome of this. And of course, by the time we're finished on the Friday, you guys are able to go ahead and implement it. Now, it will be a bit like Powell said earlier. This isn't going to be an overnight thing. The information that you develop from here is not going to take you from week 1 in Q4 and going to a millionaire status in week 2 of Q4. Like I said, this is that foundation of knowledge, you know, a solid foundation of knowledge that you will be able to take through the rest of your own business life. It's as simple as that. Learning some of these skills, how to negotiate, how to contact people, how to look in places other people aren't looking, you know, that type of thing. Massive transferable skills and essential skills in tough times, you know, in particular, this stuff as well. Again, we haven't put it in, but I imagine it will come up at some point. You can take this information to all of the trade shows after Q4.
100%, yeah.
And be able to use it as negotiation tools to be able to get your foot in the door with people. So, you know, it's kind of evergreen, this information. That's the word I was looking for. I kept calling it foundation. It's not. It's evergreen business information that you can take forward, and you can do that. So, yeah, exactly. There's no FOMO. There's no, yeah, you're given all of the information at that point. And you also know by signing up to the diamond option is that there's going to be additional skills that can be built moving forward to be able to, you know, monetize, for want of a better word, your Amazon knowledge.
Yeah. And it's funny, isn't it? Because it's ironic. This is how I kind of got into this business. I'll be honest, completely transparent here. This is how I got into doing this. I ran my business. I was very quiet. Nobody's ever heard of me 2 years ago. I just kind of got on with my thing, even though I've been doing this 10 years. And someone said to me, why don't you monetize what you do? And I was like, what? My mind was like completely blown. And then they said to me, you know, you've got all these skills, you built all this knowledge up. Why don't you monetize it? And it's the same with you guys. You've built all this experience, all this knowledge, and, you know, you're running accounts, you're running a successful Amazon business. Well, you've got the knowledge. Well, why don't you leverage it to make yourselves more money?
Yeah, and I think this is being completely honest, guys, that when people think about monetizing knowledge, they think about guru sellers and course sellers and things like that, whereas there are so many different options to be able to do it. And I think a lot of the reason, and God, I'm going to create some hate here, I think there's a lot of the reason why people don't like gurus is because not everybody has the ability to be able to monetize their knowledge. They don't feel confident enough to be able to do it, or I could never do that, or a bit of imposter syndrome, or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but I think people get a little bit of hate because I think there's a little bit of envy attached to it as well. As in, you know, because, oh, look at them doing that. When in reality, the reason why most people do have those sort of feelings is because it's something they want to do themselves. And like I said, I'm not getting all Freudy or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. I know there's arseholes out there. I know there's people mis-selling. I know that there's people that will sell their granny, you know, in order to do things. But sorry, we're not that big yet, I'm afraid.
Yeah, you can get your capital on tap or your Amex cashback though.
Yeah.
You can still get your 1% cashback or your Amex points.
There's always an option. There's always an option.
That's what you preach, yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, I don't want anyone thinking, oh, I'm saying, oh, you're only, people do it because they only get jealous of gurus. No, gurus have a bad name for a reason. And, but if you do sell any type of information, you're a guru. Don't slag off gurus when you're a guru yourself. It's as simple as that. I'm a big believer in that. So what I'm saying is, but there are different ways to do it. And people kind of have this block. They think, right, if I'm not selling courses, then my only option is to sell. Well, that's not true. There's lots of different ways that you can monetize it, quite a few different ways, to be perfectly honest. So like I said, it's going to be opening you guys up to the ability that might suit some of your personalities or characters a little bit better than sat here on a live selling information essentially. So we associate that selling of information or monetizing the knowledge with something negative, whereas how many people do you see slagging off people that run PPC agencies or agencies, marketing agencies?
If you knew how little went into a marketing agency, you'd be sick. Now, I'm not slagging anyone off as a marketing agency, but people think Google Ads is this really complex thing. It takes about 20 minutes to set up,
Yeah.
Okay, yes, there's A/B testing and there's certain tweaks, things you can do. But same with Amazon, there's certain things you can do better than others. But
and again, it's one of those things that you think, oh, I'd never have the confidence to be able to do that. Well, I can show you in a way that you can build your confidence in doing it. You can do it step by step. If you want to, you can start out by taking on your first 2 or 3 people just to get experience. You don't have to charge them, just to see how it goes. Now, I'm not a fan of that. I don't recommend doing it. I don't recommend doing that, but I can show you how to do it if you feel, and it would make you feel more confident to be able to do it. I think, it's your knowledge is experience, and therefore people should pay for knowledge and experience. Otherwise we would just live, in carnage kind of thing. So that's the way that I see it, but it's something that you can ease into. And I tell you what, it might come to a point where you enjoy doing it so much and working with other people. And some of the charges that you can make doing this is pretty extensive, to be perfectly honest. So for all of those that you are worried about tough times, even if it's just something to bulk up the income, it could be that next step, like I said, of moving from this business being a side hustle into a full-time your own business, essentially. And you can do it across a wide variety of different subjects. You can manage people's accounts, you can offer services, you could build an agency, you can do consulting, you can get into joint ventures with people, you can do percentage sales, you can charge retainers, you can make one-off consultancy fees. Honestly, it really is extensive. I think it's really going to blow a lot of people's minds. Have we got an issue with the cart?
I'm not sure. Let me know if you've got the email, if the thing's gone through, or just message me afterwards. I'll have a look.
So I'm just going to run through the offer one more time, then I've got to go because I've got to go and get the kids today. So, and by the way, guys, I'm not going to be around tomorrow if anyone's here. We've got a family funeral tomorrow. So if there is any questions relating to this, if you can direct them to Johnny or Matt, if you need like an immediate, because I'm going to be out of contact tomorrow for a family funeral. So, yeah. So I don't know if I forgot to mention that to you, Matt. Sorry. So I'm just dumping that onto you now. Yeah, sorry about that. So, but it's a good type of funeral. It's Matt's nan. So it's a good, oh, sorry. No, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, as in only me, honestly. She lived a very long, healthy life well into her 90s, and it's a celebration of life. That type of funeral. That's.
I think you're still digging.
Right, I'm just going now. Let's sign up if you want. I don't care. I'm just going. Right, let me run through that again. So we've got the 3 packages. We're going to be covering everything you need to know. I'm not going to run through that in particular. We're going to be covering everything you need to know in relation to securing that supply chain in Q4 and beyond, covering, predominantly led by Johnny, all of the information that he has taken to build his business to the stage that he has, compounding those wholesale accounts and products. And actually, one thing we haven't even mentioned is his ability. I asked him earlier, I said, what percentage of your business is replenishable, Johnny? Can anyone guess what he said? Let me know in the comments. You have to be quick because I've dug myself a hole and I need to leave.
Sorry, Rimas, I can see your purchase has gone through fine, no problem. So if you haven't got the link, just DM me and I'll sort you out.
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. 100%. 100%. It's front loaded though. You know this yourself. It's front loaded. It's harder work up front, but in terms it has much more longer term benefits. There's no doubt about it. So if you want to join us for the 5 days, 100%, everyone's in that. Yeah. Actually, it was probably quite an obvious question. Now I asked it. It's one of those questions I knew everyone would know the answer to. So if you want to join us for the 5 days, Monday to Friday, Monday to Wednesday, 7 o'clock, Thursday and Friday will be 1 o'clock. If you just want to join us, join in with the atmosphere, listen to the training live, put yourself in a position to make sure you're guaranteeing almost yourself that you have to take action on it. Join us on the gold package. £99. That's £20 a day. £20 a day for that particular session. And you can ask questions live. You'll have access in the group. We can ask questions, and we're going to keep the group open for an extra few days as well afterwards. So like Paul said, if you're busy the first night or the second night, we're going to give you a few days afterwards to be able to catch up if you've joined on the gold package. On the platinum package, you get it all. You get the live training, but you also we'll package up the recordings and we'll send them through to you afterwards for you to keep and to be able to have for all time, essentially. And then you're also going to get an access to Johnny's bonus step-by-step covert method for finding new suppliers. And like I said, genuinely, when he showed me that, I've been around a long time and I've never seen anyone do it like this before. So that was all new to me, definitely, as well. And then the diamond package is that's $199 for the platinum package, and then $299 is the diamond package, which is you get everything that we've discussed before, but in addition you get kind of VIP access or early bird access to what I think is a really complimentary masterclass for us to run directly after this, not directly, or the next one that we'll run in January. I don't know at this stage whether or not it's going to be a 1 or a 2 day. I'll be honest. I think it's me.
If it was me, it'd be 1 day. If it's you, it's a 2 day.
Do you know what? I might do something a little bit different. I might make it like a day or an afternoon event or something. I don't know. We'll see. But either way, you will get access to that at the best possible price that it's going to be in January for you to be able to monetize that Amazon knowledge that you are building up, to be able to potentially get brand exclusives, joint ventures, set up your own agency, whatever you want to do with that information, how you can look to monetize that information and diversify your business a little bit as well. Put a few more eggs in that basket. So you will get access to that. Plus, as this really special bonus, you will also get access to my template for my agreement. My actual agreement that I send to people, which is customizable, so you can change it however you want and put on it that details the agreement between yourself and whoever you're going to be going into this agreement with. And it works on all levels. So it works on joint ventures. It works on if you're going to be running someone's account, because like I said, it's just, customizable. So you can change it to whatever people want. And you get all of that for $299. Now, as Matt said, this is a new company, so it's not VAT registered yet. So you don't have to pay any VAT. So good. If you're non-VAT registered, jump in and you can make a bit of a saving. But if you are VAT registered, sorry, you've just got to suck it up.
Well, it won't cost you any more because it would have been plus
No.
that anyway. So you're not paying any more. You just, it's the same price. It's the real savings for the non-registered people because they don't have to pay that, they can't get that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anyone has got any additional questions, let us know. We'll hang around. We'll hang around for another 5 minutes, and then I've got to make a mad dash. Like I said, if there's any questions over the next couple of days, we'll put the offer in the group a bit later.
Yeah.
So if you want to jump on board and get involved in it, you can absolutely. Like I said, we're not about the hard sell. We're not, holding a gun to your head. If you guys want to join us, we're gonna create a great atmosphere. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be a really great way to kick off Q4. But obviously, if it's not for you, it's not for you. We will always continue to provide as much information as we can, without cost. It's as simple as that. And if you're just joining us now, go back and watch this from the start.
Background reel.
Yeah.
Yes, I can move things.
There we go.
That's my favourite thing.
There we go. First I drink.
Sums me up.
Then I go do things. So if you're not going to join us on the challenge next week, go back and you've only just joined us, or you've just joined the video because you've seen we're live, or you're watching it on the replay. Go back and if you're watching it on the replay, you've already seen the information. The first hour of this was absolutely content packed, and giving information about how you can secure the supply chain moving forward. My voice is going to break, Matt. You're going to need to answer that one. Sorry.
Last question. Oh, that I thought it was a green screen. No, there's no fakeness here. It's all real. Yeah, no, we were discussing this before. I mean, the wholesale course it's for anyone, really, isn't it? It's the same with the retail arbitrage. There's whether you're starting out or whether you want to scale it. There's going to be elements of the information that's going to be for everybody. You will be able to teach you how to start basically in wholesale from start to finish. If you're more advanced, there's obviously certain things you're going to know already, but then there's going to be loads of things that you didn't know or you don't appreciate, or maybe you'll get more value out of the systemization, particularly because I think Johnny does this to a very, very high level, and he's one of the top 50 sellers in the UK in terms of units. So he's got a really, really refined system. So it's literally for anybody who really wants to start in wholesale, I would say. So yeah, it's for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just following on for that, you can begin it at any stage. So if you are caught up in Q4, and you want to focus on what you're doing in Q4, absolutely, then you focus on that. You're welcome to join us. What I see this as more than anything, and you can implement it whenever. This isn't time sensitive. Information. That's what I was trying to say. It's evergreen. You'll be able to use this at any point. I see this a little bit as opportunity protection, in the sense that you're putting yourself in that position at the right time, at the right place. So if somebody comes to you at some point and says, oh, do you know what? I've just done a deal for this, but I don't have the means to be able to do it, or I don't have the knowledge to be able to do it, then you're putting yourself in that position. If the opportunity arises, that you can take advantage of it if and when you want to, if you want to and when you want to. That's what it comes down to. It's kind of real evergreen knowledge, essentially. Now, I'm not saying we know everything about anything, and I am very much hesitant to say that this is anything that you'll ever need. I'm a big believer of learning from as many people as possible, from different perspectives. How we might present this information may not resonate with everyone, or it may resonate with one person but not the next, and then they might go and hear someone else even say exactly the same, but it might sink in from that person for whatever reason. So I'm never going to be that person that says only learn from us or only do this. I think it's really irresponsible to be able to say that. So what I would say is we've priced it in a way that hopefully is cost effective enough and delivers enough value that if you join us on the gold package at 99 quid, and do you know what, you walk away with one of Johnny's golden nuggets, then that's enough value for you at that stage. Or if you join us at the platinum, you can go back and watch the videos at a later stage. Or if you join us on the diamond, you can join in in January in what will be the additional masterclass, and that might be more of the stuff that floats your boats. We've tried to cater for everybody as the best value, or it may well be you join us and you think, oh, okay, and then someone else runs it, and because it's not £2,000 or £3,000, that you don't feel you can't expose yourself to other people.
Yeah.
That was a really long answer. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a really long answer. It's all good.
Yeah, absolutely.
We believe in information, and we're not charging thousands for it because.
Yeah, and I'm not against charging thousands for information, and I'm not against it at all. I think if it's incredibly specialist information, this is why I believe, and it angers people sometimes when I say this. I don't believe in a system of complete 100% free information. I don't think it does people good, to be perfectly honest. And I think if somebody has an expertise in a certain area, why would you expect to get that for free?
Yeah.
That's the way that I see it personally. So I think you're more likely to take action on it for sure. But at the end of the day, we don't want to fleece people. We're not in that game. We want to deliver good information at a good price. It's as simple as that. Or excellent information at a good price. That's the way I see it. Any other questions, guys? I've got to make a dash in a sec. Just checking. Is your plant real?
Yeah. Oh, real. Like it's real, and it's not a fake screen, but it's not real, and it's a real plant.
I didn't mean like a projection. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, love that. Great answer.
Yeah, definitely. People deserve to be paid for their knowledge. Don't expect to pay. Oh God, I wish we could. Wish you could. Well, it's like, I think I saw a film once where they say, it was the Spider-Man film or the Doctor Strange film, the Marvel one, where he said, oh, when they go through the multiverse and they're like, oh, your multiverse is, or your universe is one of the only ones where people pay. Everything else is just exchanged. It's as simple as that. But that's what it comes down to. If everything was free in life, fair enough. If we lived in an exchange world, yeah, fair enough. But, obviously, when you've spent a long time in business and when you've spent building up that knowledge and things like that, then, we've only really moved into a freer information world in the last couple of years. Because the information has got more extensive and supplied by more people. So it's like the race to the bottom in a lot of cases. So, but yeah, I think it's ultimately something we don't want to force anyone. At the end of the day, if you want to come and join us, we'll create a good atmosphere. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be intense, guys. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be intense. It's a lot of information packed into a short amount of time. But there is method to the madness for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Any other questions? Let us know. I think I'm going to put the offer in the group a bit later on. Give you all a chance to digest it. If you've got any info, if you've got any questions for the rest of the day, please drop them through to me or Matt or Johnny or post them in the group. But if it's tomorrow, God, please feel free to send it through. But I'm just saying I won't probably answer any questions tomorrow. If you need like an urgent answer because of a family funeral. Okay. Matt, can we have the link one more time just before we go?
Link. Yeah, I will pop it in.
I thought Cindy was asking earlier when she said, is Matt's background real? I didn't know if she meant my Matt because he's like on a green screen on his background. Just wait for you to put that up.
Yeah, no, it's all gone to.
It is a grim day, I tell you. It's even a grim day in Bournemouth.
Is it? Well, it's actually just gone sunny here, but it's been raining.
That's it. Yeah. Pretty grim. Pretty cloudy. There we go. Right, links there, guys. Like I said, let us know. It'll be great if you join us. We'd love it. I think it's going to be information. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it. I think it's going to be information that will serve you well. over the next 12 months in particular. And of course, we're going to be around to, answer any questions or anything like that. But I think it's going to be intense, and I think it's going to be quite diverse, to be perfectly honest. And that's what I'm looking forward to the most, and hopefully give people the opportunity to be able to have a little bit of confidence in business moving forward. Because I promise you, nobody, there are more people that, like Matt said at the start of this, that do better in recessions than, it's going to be survival of the fittest. Yeah, absolutely. But you don't just have to survive. You can thrive during this period of time. Recessions bring people a lot of wealth. Absolutely. And if you are in the right place at the time, you can do that. There's no doubt about it. Right, well, I think we'll wrap it up there. I don't think there's any more questions, and I've got to make a hot dash. So post them in the group. We'll post the replay in the group, and we will post the cart in the group a bit later on. So if you see the post, please feel free to give it a like or drop any questions that you might have. Do you want to add anything else, Matt?
No, I think we've covered everything. Like I say, yeah, fantastic offer, fantastic value. So, and Johnny is exceptional. I'm a big seller, but he's impressive in his systems and his processes and how he scaled his business as well. So,
yeah, I did actually see, he did comment earlier. He said he's currently, I don't know if I should share this or not, but he was saying earlier, because he's currently in Italy, and he was telling us about his, I suppose, the way that he judges like pizzas and things like that. So he said he was on his pizza tour. So he was basically, and by the way, Johnny, if you're still watching, totally having pizza for dinner tonight. After our conversation, I literally can't get it out of his head. So I think there's two things Johnny loves in work. He loves work, he's a workaholic, and he loves food. So, those are the two things. So we always have massive, interesting food conversations, for sure. I can't promise there'll be any food-related conversations in the training next week, but you never know. But it was a really interesting conversation about pizza. That's all I'm going to tell you. And it made me want pizza for my dinner tonight, for sure. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. So we'll leave it there, guys. We will still do Never Mind the Buy Box next week. On Tuesday, I think we will do, unless everyone's informationed out. We'll judge it, but no reason. Well, that's got to be Johnny, or maybe not. I'll just wait and see. The comments are really slow today. Oh no, it's pizza, business and pizza, best things in life. Do you know what? I think I'm inclined to agree. So, yeah, one more time, jump on board, guys. We'd love to have you there. Any questions in the meantime, let us know. But if you're part of ESA, I'll see you on Thursday. If not, guys, we'll see you for the challenge starting on Monday. Yeah. It's going to be good.
Sometimes.
Exactly. Right. See you later, guys. Have a good day.
See you later. Bye.